Hey guys, today we're going to review the CRKT Outrage, which is a Ken Onion design. Before we get into this too far, let's go over the numbers. I know some people love that. Overall length, 7.88 inches. Clothes length, 4.67 inches. Weight, 4.5 ounces. Blade length, 3.19 inches. Thickness, 0.13 inches. HCR13 MOV steel with a Rockwell hardness of 5860. It's a satin finish, hollow grind, drop point, with handle materials being 6061 aluminum and a 2CR13 liner. Alright, so that's that. What else can we say about this knife? It does have that IKBS bearing system. It's a flipper. As we said before, aluminum handled. So we're going to zoom out here, show you this guy. Go over the details. Very smooth action, guys. One of the smoothest in a budget knife I've seen in a while. Price, $35 to $40, depending on where you get it. I think I got this one off Amazon just around Black Friday. So you can see very unusual blade shape there. It's got that really kind of steep belly to it. That really nice hollow grind. Little slightest bit of a recurve. This is going to be pretty challenging to sharpen. I've sharpened this a couple of times and it's tough. You got to work in sections because it is such a steep belly. Alright, let's go over the details. Now that we've talked about that. Handle is a textured aluminum, couple different textures and jimpings on there. You can see jimping on the back here, texturing here for the fingers, different texturing on the other main part. So a lot of texturing, actually not slippery. A lot of aluminum handles are super slippery. Nope, not this one. Tiny little lanyard hole. Really nice pocket clip. I really like this short pocket clip. It's really stable, but also just doesn't show off very well. You have a partial open construction, so you can see you have a little bit of a partial back spacer there with some jimping on that as well. Liner lock is inlaid into the aluminum scale, so it cuts down. Sorry, lost my train of thought. So it does cut down on the thickness. As you can see, this is a pretty thin, low-profile flipper design with not a very big flipper. At first, when you look at this, you think, oh my god, how's that flipper going to open this thing? But this thing is on a ball bearing system. It's super smooth. As you can see, no flick of the wrist. Opens up like a dream and locks up with authority. It's so smooth. Smooth. I can even hold it vertically and still open it without flicking my wrist. You know, even though there's that little bit of flipper there, this thing is really smooth. Has a super good detent. This thing is not coming loose, even though it is so smooth. You can see the cutout here for the liner lock makes it very easy to access. So this is a very easy knife to open and close, one-handed. Mind you guys, I'm a lefty working behind a camera, and this thing is still just super easy to operate. So that cutout's done very well. You can get a nice purchase on the liner lock here. The lockup is very good. Reach around this camera here. No blade play back and forth, side to side. Really sweet lockup. You can look in here and see the lockup is quite nice. So there's that. There's a little bit of jimping on the flipper as well. Not a ton. I mean, not that you get a ton of access to it anyway. You're really only getting your finger kind of on that end there. But dang, guys, this is a smooth and nice knife. So let's talk about performance. Of course, I took this out for the recycling test. Took this out, cut up cardboard, corrugated cardboard into 1-foot strips to see how many. The results I got for this are pretty much the same for 90% of the CRKT MOV steel. It cuts a pretty good, you're talking like 40-50 linear feet before it needs sharpening. I carried this in my pocket quite a bit, guys, despite all the new knives I've gotten. This thing pocket carries. It's one of the better pocket carries. it really just fits into the pocket really well. It's got that right hand only tip down, tip up carry, and it just kind of disappears into the pocket. This is a nice thin knife. It's a little heavy, you know, 4.5 ounces, but it fits in the pocket well, sits in the pocket well, and that pocket clip is really good, so you really don't get much movement out of it. It's a knife you put in that pocket, you really just forget about it. And, you know, and because it is, you know, such an easy knife to carry, I've carried it quite a bit, and plus I do like that small pocket clip. It's definitely a little more discreet. You have less to worry about, you know, people at work seeing it and freaking out. Whoops. Other thing to note, I would say, would be blade shape. When it comes to actual work, it's a very interesting blade shape. Because number one, this is that sharp tip, that really fine tip, makes really good for draw cuts. So if you are cutting into boxes, envelopes, that really sharp, fine tip is good for that. You also have a really good belly for when you're like cutting meat or things like that. That does really well for that. And the other cool thing is if you are doing some really, really fine work, there is a very slight choil here, and you can get the tip of your finger on that. So say you are doing a really, really delicate thing, you can get a lot of really good control out of that. You just got to be really careful you don't slice your finger, but there is a tiny little choil that will let you get the tip of that finger in there. So ergonomics, very good. As you can see, it fits my hand very well. I have weird hands. I have huge palms, tiny fingers. You can see the jimping on the back is in just the right place. That finger choil is perfect. Full 4-finger grip. Now you can see my one finger kind of hits the hump here, but that may be different for you. But very comfortable to use. I didn't get any hot spots or anything during the use. I found it to be just really a nice knife for work. It slices cardboard very well because it's a relatively thin blade with that hollow grind. It's a good slicer, and like I said, because you do, you know, have that little bit of belly there, you know, cutting meat and all that. You do have that belly for cutting meat. You have that for that draw cut. So it is pretty good. And then if you are doing any kind of like carving with it as well, that belly and that flatter area here gives you a lot of different options, which is kind of cool because, you know, it's always nice when your knife has a lot of versatility to it. And this blade shape, as much as it looks kind of exotic and as much as it adds to the pain in the neck, that it adds to sharpening, really does give you some nice versatility. I really kind of found just playing around in the backyard, working on a little wood. You know, I tend to use that flat part there for cutting. When I was cutting meat and foods, I had that nice belly, but then that nice fine tip for opening packages and letters and things like that required more of a delicate touch. And just very happy with the performance, very happy with the ergonomics. This is actually one of the, I gotta say, like, I've bought a lot of knives lately, and of them, this is, I definitely say, top 5. And if you look at the budget knives, you know, the under, you know, $50, this is definitely top 5 material as far as I'm concerned. I mean, really, the only thing could really improve on this knife a lot would be a better steel. You know, if they put this out in a VG10 or S30, whoo, look out. But, you know, it's a good blade shape. It's got great ergonomics, very smooth action, and it pockets very well. That's everything I want in a knife. Everything I want. And really, I mean, the only complaints would be the sharpening, but, you know, it's just a matter of taking your time, taking a little more time and doing it kind of piecemeal and being careful and sharpening it more often as opposed to letting it get really dull. But other than that, you know, I think this thing's a great addition. And I've only owned maybe a couple of the kind of onion knives, but after feeling this, you know, he definitely has a feel for ergonomics. Maybe his hands are similar to mine, but, you know, the ones I've held have always been a great feeling in the hand. But I do think this is a good, useful EDC knife. You know, if you're okay with a CR13 MOV steel, you know, it's a good option. I definitely would say you want to hold one of these, seeing it does have these finger choils. You definitely want to hold one to make sure it's going to fit your hand properly before you play around. But man, you know, this CR13 MOV takes a fantastic edge, takes a really fine edge very easily. Doesn't take a lot of work. It's a very forgiving steel, you know, so a lot of good things. The only thing you can really improve, like I said, would be a luxury steel, but with that, you know, your price is going to go up as well. By the way, really good blade centering on there as well. Everything's, like I said, it's done well, you know, for a $35 knife. It's pretty impressive, I gotta say. I mean, how smooth it is, how nice it is, just, you know, that texturing in the aluminum alone, you look at that, that's just really nice, and really just a lot of good stuff about this knife, guys. A lot of good. Definitely, in my opinion, worth the money. Alright, I could flip this thing all day, just like your mom. So, we're going to close out on that. Hope you guys enjoyed.